Man, I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting a little tired of constantly being gaslit by our government, by our intelligence agencies, by the media, by everyone who seemingly is in a position of authority in our country. It's constant. It's constant gaslighting, especially over the last 3.5 years under the Kamala Harris Biden administration. They gaslight you about the economy. You go to the grocery store every single week. You buy groceries for your family. You know that the grocery prices are high. You go to the gas pump every single week. You know that gas prices are high, but what does Don Lemon tell people whenever he goes and interviews people on the street? He says, "Oh, you're upset about the economy? The economy is actually good." And these people that he's interviewing look at him like, "Are you an idiot? Like, what are you saying to me right now?" Like, I go buy groceries every week. I go fill up my gas tank every single week, sometimes multiple times a week. Why? Because I can't afford a full tank. Why? Because the freaking gas prices are too high. You're constantly being gaslit. Kamala Harris herself decided that she was going to try to gaslight us on the debate stage just a few weeks ago. She said that not a single soldier in the U.S. military was deployed into a combat zone while she was in office. Not a single one. Not a single soldier today is in a combat zone while she has been in office. That is what she claimed on the debate stage, and it's hilarious. There was these soldiers over, I forget where they were at, but they were taking a video of the debate when she said that, and they posted it all over the internet, all over TikTok. It went viral. They turned around the camera and looked at the camera. They're like, "Where are we right now if this is not a war zone?" You're constantly being gaslit, and now they're doing it again, ladies and gentlemen. They are doing it on violent crime. Yes, they are telling us that violent crime is actually down. Oh boy. There was some recent data, quote unquote data, that came out from the FBI saying that certain violent crime was down. For example, homicide. I believe they said that homicide was down. They're wrong. They're 100% wrong. And I'm going to explain to you why. From the Post-Millennial, violent crime rate increased under the Biden and Harris administration report. Let's get into it. Let's just get right into the facts, the statistics. Despite what some Democratic politicians and media pundits have said about violent crime stabilizing under the Biden-Harris regime, violent crime has escalated according to the most current data from the National Crime Victimization Survey, or NCVS, run by the Bureau of Justice Statistics, or the BJS. And the administered by the Census Bureau, Breitbart reports urban centers facing the brunt of the increase have seen a 40% rise in violent crime. Now, I want you to imagine, just for a second, I'm going to keep reading this, but I want you to imagine just for a second. You live in Chicago. Chicago already has the reputation of a city that is called Chirac. It's called Chirac because Chicago on most weekends is a war zone where people are murdered in the night due to things like massive gang violence. Now, I want you to imagine that violence has become 40% worse. That is apocalyptic for your city. And mind you, that's not me saying that. These are people, former residents of the city of Chicago, who still have, friends and family who live there, who are saying it has gotten worse. But hey, don't take my word for it. Let's keep reading. The report runs contrary to what much of the mainstream media has reported or cited in quote-unquote fact checks. During the September 10th presidential debate, moderator David Moore, I don't care. He's an idiot. Let's continue. Contradicted Donald Trump's claim that there has been rising crime under the Biden-Harris administration. The data is the assessment of official estimates of non-fatal criminal acts, both reported and unreported by police, by BJS and NCVS. The report documents crime and its victims as evidenced by 230,000 U.S. residents who were asked whether they were a victim of a crime. The survey has been conducted for over 51 years. Excluding simple assault, mind you, think about what they just said. They're excluding simple assault from this survey. So simple assaults are not included in this, and they still got a 40% rise in violent crime. But let's continue. The type of violent crime least likely to be charged as a felony, the violent crime rate in 2023 was 19% higher than in 2019. The last year before, I believe I said that wrong. The violent crime rate in 2023 was 19% higher than in 2019. I don't know if I said that wrong or not, but I just want to be clear on my dates there. The last year before the Defund the Police movement swept the country. Jeffrey H. Anderson, the former director of the Bureau of Justice Statistics from 2017 to 2021, summarized the data for the Wall Street Journal. But crime is not rising at the same pace everywhere in America, Anderson noted in his report. Urban centers are getting the worst of it, especially in Democratic-controlled cities with prosecutors who are soft on crime. Boy, it's almost like Republicans have become prophets. It's almost like we're prophetic now. I mean, Republicans have been saying this for the longest time. We said it back in 2019. Democrats are soft on crime. If Joe Biden gets into office, if Democrats begin to take over more areas of the country, you're going to continue to get what we have always gotten from Democrats, or at least what we have recently gotten from Democrats, which is they are soft on crime. Things like bail reform. You get this I forget exactly what it's called. You don't got to pay bail in order to get out of prison or in order to get out of jail. It's foolishness. And what it results in is violent criminals being let out of jail, let out of prison, back onto the street where they repeat these crimes. Where they repeat their violent behavior. So violent criminals who should be in a jail cell for committing violent crimes against their community are just let right back out in order to cause more crime and more destruction and more chaos onto the law-abiding citizens of the community. You've seen this in California. You have seen this in New York. You've seen this in Chicago. It doesn't work. But hey, we told you, Democrats. Enjoy your cities. Let's continue. The results aren't pretty. According to the NCVS, the urban violent crime rate increased 40% from 2019 to 2023, excluding simple assault. The urban violent crime rate rose 54% over that span. 54%. From 2022 to 2023, the urban violent crime rate didn't change to a statistically significant degree, so these higher crime rates appear to be the new norm in America's cities, Anderson wrote for the Wall Street Journal. The urban property crime rate is also getting worse. It rose from 176.1 victimizations per 1,000 households in 2022 to 192.3 in 2023. That's part of a 26% increase in the urban property crime rate since 2019. These numbers exclude rampant shoplifting since the NCVS is a survey of households and not of businesses. He noted without adding that shoplifters are not even being arrested in some cities, Los Angeles, for example, San Francisco, for example, in some cities because they are legally allowed to steal an approved amount of property. Yes, that's right. In California, in some areas of California, I believe, you are legally allowed to steal up to a certain amount of money. I believe the number is it's like $999, and then if you go above that, then they'll fine you or they'll arrest you. But yeah, up to that, you're allowed to steal whatever you want. Insane. And so what we have seen is we've seen videos of massive groups of people just bum rushing a store with trash bags, going in, filling up their trash bag with whatever they want, and then just running off. There's been videos of this happening in stores as a police car drives by. The police stare at what is happening, they see what is happening, and they choose not to give a crap, and they drive off. And then they wonder why all of their stores are closing in their major cities. For example, CVS Pharmacy has seen major closings all over the state of California simply because of these policies. But let's continue. Anderson called the NCVS data finalized and more reliable than the much vaunted FBI reports because it is difficult, if not impossible, to compare the Bureau's statistics on a year-to-year basis, and the FBI is not a principal statistical agency. But perhaps most importantly, the NCVS records all crimes, even those that are not reported to the police. This is in line with a report from the Coalition for Law, Order, and Safety that was reported in the spring, showing that the FBI has undercounted violent crime. In some urban centers, such as in New York, some voters in the city's suburbs are shifting from supporting the Democratic Party to GOP nominee Donald Trump, as he has shared a law and order message, perhaps resonating more with citizens who agree that the Biden-Harris administration has failed to keep crime down while also allowing millions of illegals to cross the southern border. Now, let's say that you don't trust this. This random organization. And see, fine. I got it. I hear you. Let's go to a year ago. This is from 7/13/2023. This is the Marshall Project, a nonprofit journalism about criminal justice. This is what this organization does. They specifically focus on criminal justice. And they wrote a year ago, 4 reasons we should worry about missing crime data. The FBI's crime data is still incomplete and politicians are taking advantage. Let's read, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe I can get you guys a better view of this. Maybe that's a little small. I believe that's good enough. Okay. For the 2024 election season, we've updated this reporting to cover the latest changes and debates around crime stats. For more than 100 years, the FBI has been collecting crime data from local police departments across the country through the Uniform Crime Reporting Program, which has seen the gold standard of national crime statistics. By 2020, almost every law enforcement agency was included in the FBI's database. Some agencies reported top-line numbers, such as the total number of murders or car thefts, through the summary reporting system. Others reported granular incident data with details about each reported crime through the newer National Incident-Based Reporting System. Then it all changed in 2021. Wait, hold on now. They've been telling us that we can trust the FBI's data, but what changed? Let's read. In an effort to fully modernize the system, the FBI stopped taking data from the old summary system and only accepted data through the new system. Thousands of police agencies fell through the cracks because they didn't catch up with the changes on time. The Marshall Project is tracking police agency participation using data obtained from the FBI. Here are 4 takeaways from our analysis. Participation in the FBI's database improved slightly, but with 2/3 of law enforcement agencies now included. More than 6,000 law enforcement agencies were missing from the FBI's national crime data last year, representing nearly 1/3 of the nation's 18,000 police agencies. This means a quarter of the U.S. population wasn't represented in the federal crime data last year, according to the Marshall Project's analysis. The old summary level data reporting system, retired in 2021, was also revived last year when the FBI announced that it would accept data through it again. It's unclear how many police agencies took advantage of the opportunity because the participation data is not available yet. But many states like Illinois had already planned to phase out the old system. Reporting has increased compared with 2021. The first FBI changed the collection system, with 2,000 more police agencies submitting their 2022 crime records. But the data gap still creates significant challenges for scholars and policymakers to make sense of crime trends. There you have it, folks. There you have it. The reality is that because of their failures, because of the FBI trying to switch things up and change things up and not allow these other police agencies, these local police agencies, in order to catch up, we have seen a drop in the reliability of the FBI's numbers. And so what do we get? We get entire cities like Los Angeles and New York not reporting their violent crime data. Now, maybe this isn't enough for you. Maybe it's not enough for you. But I tell you what is enough for the majority of people. You have the internet. I know you have the internet because you're watching this video right now. And when you go on the internet, when you go on social media, whenever you go on YouTube or Rumble, you see a lot of things. But one of the biggest things that we as American citizens have been seeing over the last 3.5 years is videos and reports of constant violent crime. Let me share some examples with you. This is recent from End Wokeness. RIP Officer David Lee. This officer right here, killed in the line of duty yesterday by an illegal alien. BLM's silence is deafening. That's correct. And we've seen this over and over and over again. My goodness. Here's a fantastic example right here. Don't take it from me. Don't take it from me. Hear it right from this woman's mouth. This woman was a victim of an attack by an illegal immigrant. Here you go.
I'm Amanda Kiefer. I don't feel like I belong on the stage with the folks here, since I seem to have gotten off kind of easy with just a fractured skull. I didn't lose loved ones, but the night I was walking to dinner in Pacific Heights, it was a nice neighborhood. You wouldn't expect broad daylight for something violent to happen to you on the way to dinner. My purse was stolen, and I stepped into the street, and the car he jumped into came at me. I jumped up on the hood to avoid getting run over, and he floored it and hit the brakes. The police were great. They had caught him and his accomplice in a really short time, because I remember being on a gurney in the hallway of the hospital, and I had to ID them. They were laughing as they fractured my skull. What was really the worst part about it all, though, is when I found out that taxpayer money was paying for job training for this guy who avoided going to prison for the first felony he committed for jobs he couldn't legally hold. It was kind of a wake-up moment for me.
Yep, that's right, folks. That's right. Your taxpayer dollars were used to bring an illegal immigrant into the country. And what did that illegal immigrant do with the opportunities that we, the taxpayers, provided with him? He used that opportunity to steal from this young woman and to beat her brains in. Oh, but violent crime is down, though. It's totally down. Here's another example. This is in Philadelphia just a couple of days ago. Take a watch. Let me turn down the volume and describe for you what's happening. This is a street takeover that happened in Philadelphia. And these, I guess what you would call them is rioters. That's really what they have taken over the public streets. The police were called in to disband the chaos that these imbeciles were causing. And what did these people do? They climb onto the police car and they assault the police officers. Look at this. They're opening up the police car. And yes, it was reported those officers were physically assaulted by this crowd of deviants. What's my point here? My point is this. You're being gaslit, ladies and gentlemen. You know what you have seen over the last 3.5 years. You know what you have seen. What you have seen with your own eyes is not a country where crime is down. It's not a country where crime has been on the down low and it's going down and everything's kind of smoothing out and now we're just coasting. That's not what you have seen. All you got to do is go on the internet, man. Go on the internet, go on social media, go on YouTube, and you can see from all over the country example after example after example. Here's a great example that I can share with you just recently. I was on my way to work, and I have the text messages on my phone because I texted my wife about it after I saw it happen. I'm on my way, driving to work, and I start to see, sirens, like cop lights and sirens behind me in my rear view. So I do what every other normal person does. When they got cops coming in hot behind them, you pull over as far to the right as you can to try to let the cops go by. And then I realized it wasn't just the cops that was coming in hot. They were chasing a man. They were chasing a man who was, leading them on a high-speed chase. It looked, because his back window was busted out, it looked as if he had either fired at the cops through his back window or if he had shot at the cops and they had fired back. Yeah, but this happened right next to me. High-speed chase. They had the SWAT truck, the big old armored SWAT truck driving after him, had a full police helicopter chasing him down the highway. Yeah, right next to me. And mind you, I'm not going to tell you what city it is because I don't want people trying to figure out where I live. This is the internet. We got a bunch of crazies out here. But this is not in a bad city. In fact, the city I was driving through at the time is a pretty wealthy city. Lots of growth, lots of money pouring in. What's my point here? You know what you've seen. You know what you have seen. Don't let them gaslight you. Don't let them lie to you. Don't believe the propaganda. That's all I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm saying. You've got a choice to make come this November, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what America's going to choose. But I can tell you the last 3.5 years have not been good when it comes to crime. Now you can say, oh, crime was up under Donald Trump too. Sure, maybe. But if the Democrats are going to sit here and say, oh, crime was up under Donald Trump, fine, sure. Why were you guys trying to defund the police then? Back in 2020. Why? You're sitting here telling me, oh, well, crime was actually up under Donald Trump. Okay, cool. Yeah, that happens sometimes. Why were you guys trying to defund the police? And why did many of you actually succeed in defunding the police back in 2020 if you were so worried about the violent crime that was happening under Donald Trump? They don't have an answer, man. They don't have an answer. And the reality is that a lot of the violent crime that happened back in 2020 and things like that was because of far left rioters and other violent crime that was happening in the wake of George Floyd's death. That's the reality. It's just leftist violence. But they don't want to talk about that, though. They don't want to talk about that. I don't know, man. I know what we've seen. I know what we have seen over the last 3.5 years, and so do you. Don't let them gaslight you, man. And when it comes to November, if you want to see all of this go away, all this violent crime, you got to vote Donald Trump. You got to vote for the party that has said enough of the violent crime, enough of the illegal immigration, enough. I don't know, man. That's up to you. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but just be careful. Be careful what you vote for. I'm going to leave it there. I'll have another video coming for you guys likely next week. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment down in the comment section, share the show with your friends. Follow me on all the socials down in the description. Hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we put out new videos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.